Welcome to the Empire Builders podcast. I'm Dave Young. Stephen Semple's right there standing by. And he just told me what we're going to be talking about. And man, it took me back to like college days. Yeah, in fact, I was looking at photos over the weekend. I have some photos of when I was in college. And this is way back 20 years before the turn of the century, to tell you how long ago this is.
I hate how you put it that way. I
This is, 20 years before the turn of the century. That's a lifetime ago. Uh, But there were days in college where it's like, well, gosh, mom and dad haven't sent me any money, and, I haven't gotten the job that I told myself I'd get, so you go to the store, and what do you find? Like, it's either ramen or, if you want an upgrade, cup of noodles, and, the cup of noodles, as everyone that's ever been poor knows, is, noodle soup in a cup, and you take the lid off, put some water in it, throw it in the microwave, voila. Am I right? Is that what we're talking about, or is this a
Well,
is this
that's what
some new
no, no,
car?
that's what we're talking about. That's what
New
we're talking
car,
about, but
it's some new Tesla called
I
Cup of Noodles.
No, no, you're right, but I want you to hold on to that thought of it as being an upgrade from ramen, because 'cause we're gonna
Okay,
revisit that.
it's not an upgrade?
We're gonna revisit that whole idea because that's brilliant. It was started in the 1950s, and it was a new idea then, but today there's over 100 billion servings of instant noodles eaten every year, and it's estimated that cup of noodle sells between 18 and 25 billion servings a year
Mhm.
because
That's a
it's
l
inside of a larger organization, so it's hard to know exactly, but
that's
but that's the estimates I've come
dude,
across.
that's like feeding the planet 3 times in one day.
Right? Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, but
So, Empire,
yeah, listen,
yeah.
there's some guy sitting on top of that noodle money somewhere, and I guess we're gonna hear the story.
So, in the 1950s, in the United States, food is kinda boring. Eating out was like literally going to diners, and international food really only existed in big cities that had
Sure.
Chinatowns.
Yeah.
And following World War II, there was actually a strong anti-Asian feeling in the United States.
Uh-huh.
Meanwhile, back in Osaka, Japan, there's a food crisis after the war because basically Japan has been decimated. And bread is being distributed by the US and it's really plentiful, but people wanted more traditional meals.
I'm not used to bread.
Right, it's not part
Yeah.
of what they normally eat. So Momofuku Ando is a 48-year-old business person. He's lost his company. He went to jail for tax evasion. All sorts of bad things went on. But he's out of jail and he's looking to start his new business and he sees people lined up for ramen. So there
Mhm.
is a ramen
There we
tie-in
go.
here.
Yeah.
And
Now,
ramen was
just to be fair, I wasn't talking about, like, ramen from a store or from a vendor. I'm talking about those little bricks of top ramen.
yeah, yeah, no,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, for
Hold
okay,
on to
okay,
that
alright,
thought. We
alright.
are gonna come back to that. Yes. So ramen was created when noodles basically came over from China, and 1910 is the earliest record we could find of a ramen shop in Japan. So it looked like it
Wait,
was around
wait,
1910. Yep.
the Japanese didn't have noodles till 1910.
They didn't have the type of noodles in ramen. Yes.
Okay. See, it's the and I mean, we could go a whole nother direction on this if you wanted to, in the Japanese industrialization of
Yes.
them going around the world and bringing all kinds of new technology back to Japan in the early 1900s, and
Early
now,
19
turns
yes.
out, including noodle technology.
Including noodle technology, yeah, and we forget how closed Japan was, like,
Oh,
basically
yeah,
about the
yeah.
only thing that was imported was silk, right? That was about it. Very, very closed economy, and then, yes, lots of and when things changed in Japan, boy, they changed in a hurry. Like, it went from basically medieval to industrial in, like, that. It was crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you and I are both whiskey somms, and we know the story of Japanese whiskey is the same story, right? The Japanese guy goes to Scotland, falls in love with Scotch whiskey, figures out how to make it, comes back to Japan, and builds the Japanese whiskey industry. So,
Yeah.
let's go back to noodles. I'm sorry. I will distract us all day
No, no,
long.
but it is an interesting thing. Now, the main
Uh-huh.
drawback to ramen is it's hard to make at home. The noodles need to be fresh, they're hand cut, they've gotta come from shops, And so what Momofuku decides is he wants to make a ramen product that is tasty, non-perishable, easy to make, affordable, and ready in 5 minutes with hot water.
Wow,
That's his
okay.
goal.
That's a goal.
On top of that, he has no culinary training. So he invests every last penny into this because he needs something he can put into a grocery store as well on the non-perishable because there's few refrigerators or ovens in Japan at this time.
Okay, yeah.
And the key is the broth, and it can take days to make the broth. So here was his question. If everyone loves ramen, why is it so hard to make? And so he tries drying the noodles, then he gets the broth dried into the noodles, and he spends several years working on this, and it just nothing seems to work. And one day he notices his wife tempura frying food, and the batter dehydrates immediately the moment it hits the oil. Because what does oil do? Removes water. So now what he does is he drops the noodle into this high heat oil and it creates a shell. He then takes fresh noodles, cooks them in the broth until it's saturated, drops it into the oil, and the water is cooked out. It works.
Wow,
It
okay.
works. He's now got this dried noodle. Now he needs to get it in the stores. And he starts with chicken ramen, and that's more expensive. It's about 6 times the price of regular ramen. But what he finds is people are willing to pay for the convenience. So in 1961, it hits stores in Osaka and it sells like crazy. And it's called Magic Ramen by customers.
Magic ramen. I like
Yeah.
that.
And he gets to the point where he borrows 1,000,000 yen to open a factory. In the first year, they're doing 13 million packages. In the second year, 50 million packages a year. Now, to put that in perspective, 50 million packages a year, the TV dinners
Yeah.
at that time is one half the number of sales of the amount of ramen that they're selling in Japan, of this instant ramen.
Wow, okay.
It's 1962. And this idea is getting very copied. There's now 70 companies in the space in Japan in a few short years. And some are also cheaper, and the economy in Japan is still recovering. So Momofuku decides he's going to spend a couple of $1,000,000 and he's going to bring this product to the United States.
Okay.
Now, the timing is really bad. 1968, there's a hoax letter written to the New York Journal of Medicine by Dr. Kwok that MSG is unsafe, and the New York Times reports on it. And this becomes a placebo effect on kind of all Chinese food, all
What year
Asian
was
food, in
this?
fact. 68.
68, okay. Um,
The letter was written on a bet by Dr. Howard Steele, who was a pediatric who was having a hard time getting published. And there was this bet that, oh, I bet you if you wrote something this way, it would get published. So he creates this hoax and it gets published.
and people still believe it.
Yeah, he created this fake research facility with a made up name. Like, it's amazing. Sounds kind of familiar for the world we're in today. And MSG is declared safe like for years later.
Well, my wife thinks MSG doesn't agree with her,
Well, some people it
and
may not.
maybe it doesn't, but I
Right, but
don't
again, that could be just a
you
food
don't know.
intolerance,
Yeah.
right? Right,
Mhm.
yeah. So Momofuku travels to the United States. Here's one of the things he figures out. He runs into a bit of a challenge with the US market. He realizes he needs to do sampling because it became successful in Japan because it was a familiar food that became convenient, right? So it was only one step away. Familiar food that became convenient was not a familiar food in the United States. So he decided he needed to do sampling. So goes over to the US, sets up sampling in grocery stores. This anti-Asia movement is so strong, people won't even try it. It's too new.
Yeah,
Won't even try it.
and don't know what ramen is.
Right. So when he's done, he's got all this product left over and he decides, like, I'm not going to take this product back to Japan. So he leaves it for the staff. But what he notices is the staff are eating it,
Is it?
but very differently.
Stay tuned. We're going to wrap up this story and tell you how to apply this lesson to your business right after this.
Hey.
What?
Shh. Steven created something new.
That's not surprising. Why are you being so quiet?
Well, not very many people know.
Really?
Yes, it's new and it's amazing.
Like tail wagging amazing?
Mm-hmm.
Well, tell me.
Using storiestosell.com.
Okay.
It's a new free 90-minute session
Why?
because people have a hard time figuring out how to tell their business story.
Yeah, and?
This leverages Steven's TEDx talk on the 4 ingredients for telling a compelling story.
It's a great talk for sure, But how can.
Don't worry, you'll get help figuring out your story quickly, and you'll have one you can use right away.
Hmm.
You'll even learn where to use it.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, you can sign up at usingstoriestosell.com.
Wait, isn't our tea time coming up?
Oh, yeah, let's go.
You're away, Dave.
Let's pick up our story where we left off, and trust me, you haven't missed a thing.
So when he's done, he's got all this product left over and he decides, like, I'm not going to take this product back to Japan. So he leaves it for the staff. But what he notices is the staff are eating it,
Mhm.
but very differently. What he discovers is the staff break up the noodles and put it in a coffee cup and pour in the hot water and eat it in the break room. The recipe called for these large noodles to be put in a pot, and then you transferred the pot to a bowl.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So your cup of noodle, when you're talking about the
Yeah,
bricks of
yeah,
ramen, all it is a brick of ramen broken up into little bits,
sure. Well, I used to
right?
make it that I didn't like the long noodles, so I would do the same thing, just instinctively, because 'cause I'm an American
Yeah.
from the Midwest.
What he also observed in all of this was that people called it noodles.
Yeah,
So they took the ramen, broke it up in little bits, put it in a coffee cup, poured it in hot water, and called it noodles.
noodles. Oh, I mean, that's what mom made for us when we weren't feeling so good, right? With some
Right.
chicken noodle soup.
So now we have the familiar. Remember?
Yes.
Successful in Japan because it was the familiar made convenient. Now we had the familiar. How do you make it convenient? Goes back to Japan and he comes up with the idea of a styrofoam cup that you put it in. He added some vegetables, which made it a complete meal.
A
Now
soup, yeah,
the Asian food scare was still there, but it's not Asian food any longer. It's a cup of noodles.
yeah. Brilliant.
And he stopped calling it ramen. He called it a cup of noodles.
So
And
you
and
mean
actually, originally, it was called cup noodle, and in 1973, they added the O, so
the
now
O?
it was cup of O noodles.
So, I mean, you could start riots in the US. There could be, millions of idiots that they're gonna be upset now that they were fooled into eating ramen instead of noodles.
Well, I'm
That
safely here in Canada. This is your problem to deal with.
yeah, I think you should put some kind of warning label on this episode.
Warning may cause riots. I like it. We may do
Uh-huh.
that. We may do
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, we're just a victim of big ramen. That's
Yeah, yeah, it's one more unwanted foreign influence in the United States.
Uh-huh.
Today the estimate is cup of noodle is like an $8 billion business. But what I found that was so interesting about this was his innovation all came from observation. He
Yes.
observed that people in Japan were eating ramen but couldn't eat it at home for a bunch of reasons. So he wanted to make this comedian thing for home. He observed his wife, with the tempura batter, which made for the breakthrough, had this huge success in Japan. But when he came to the United States, was the whole thing of noticing the people eating it were doing it differently. They're breaking it up, putting it in a cup, adding hot water. Now, there's a business innovation lesson here, but there's a marketing lesson as well because our greatest assets as marketers is observation of people.
Exactly.
It's observing how people think, observing how people feel, observing how they act, observing how they react to things. And great marketing comes from observation. So does great innovation. Great innovation is seeing something on the right and pulling it over to the left. What I loved was this moment where he suddenly realized, wait a minute, ramen was successful in Japan because we took the familiar and made it convenient. And then once people were looking at it like a soup, he was like, ooh, we make this more like a soup. We're now taking the familiar and making it convenient rather than making it a new food. And I thought that was an unbelievably amazing observation.
It is, and I think sometimes we get our heads into the books or the business or dealing with the oh my god, the million little problems that just pop up in front of us every day, and we don't step back to see the big picture. We don't step back to s
Right.
to observe, and
Well, we lose sight of what's the customer actually thinking. And really, that's all that matters is what's the customer thinking, right? What's in their head? What's going on in their world? How are they going to react to these things? And the more you understand that, the more you understand the human being on the other side of like All ideas look great when you're sitting in a boardroom with 4 white walls, a drop ceiling, and a spreadsheet. You can make anything work.
Mhm.
The real thing is, how about the human being on the other side of that equation? That's
Yeah.
what matters.
You know,
That's what matters.
I don't want this to sound, "Well, I don't care." Here, I don't care how this sounds.
We're already starting a riot, Dave. Go for
When
it.
sometimes I get like, I don't use ChatGPT to write very much, but I will
Right.
hand it something I've written and say, "Dumb it down.
Yes.
Make the
Yeah.
sentences shorter. Make this, understandable to, like, a 6th grader."
Right.
And it does a pretty decent job of helping me figure that out.
For
And
sure. For
it's not
sure.
that I'm assuming that people are stupid, but there are some people like, think about this. This is, touching on MAGA territory here, but, if you think about how smart the average person is, realize that half of the people are less smart than that. So,
Right, but
when you
yeah.
have a cup of ramen and a
Yes.
word that nobody's heard, ramen,
Yes.
nobody knew what ramen was in the United
No,
States
they
in the
didn't. They
1960s or
didn't.
'70s, but they all knew what
No.
a noodle is.
Noodle was. Yes.
Grandma's made us noodles forever, right? We like noodles. We like them in casseroles. We like them
Yep.
stroganoff. That's just beef and noodles and noodle soup. And so if you change the word ramen to you get over yourself, you get over the fact that, well, when people need to understand that ramen is not quite the same. Like, no, 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 no. These are noodles.
Just
Just
call it a
call it a
noodle.
noodle.
And that's what
And
was brilliant in the name, cup of noodles.
mhm. Yeah, I think there are business owners and marketers that feel like the answer is to educate people,
Never
and
is.
never is. That hardly ever works, right? You need to associate your product with something they already know and understand.
Attach the unfamiliar
Yeah.
to the familiar, and we've talked
Mhm.
about that a number of times in this podcast. But one of my favorite business books, is Made to Stick by Chip and Dan Heath, and one
Mhm.
of the things that they talk about is, there's 6 things that make a message sticky, and one of them is simple. Simple I have a different take on, I hate the term dumbing things down. I like instead, let's simplify
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Because when a message is simple, it's easier for everyone to absorb. It actually takes less brain power to figure it out. And let's face it, I'm in a world today where I'm competing with 5,000 messages a day. If it's complicated and it takes time, it's not that a person's lazy, it's not that they're dumb. It's look, there's just too much coming at them. The brain is like, I don't have time for that because I got too much stuff coming at me. So the more you can simplify it down, connect it, make it concrete, attach the unfamiliar to the familiar, the easier the brain is goes, I get that. I understand it. We need to make it easy because we're competing with so much.
No, I agree.
Like as soon as you go down this path of I got to educate the consumer, give me a break because I'm supposed to be educated on the food I eat, the air I breathe, the water I drink, the education, how I teach my kids, my health, my finances, my car, my air conditioning, my like,
Mhm.
dude, I don't have enough time to get educated, all that stuff. I have a busy life, and what I want to do is watch the hockey game at night,
Mhm. I agree.
right? Like,
I agree 100% with you, and I'll add this. There are still people that are stupid
well, there,
that
yes,
eat 3 times a day.
yes, there
And
are,
they eat 3
but
times a day and want a cup o' noodle.
yep,
And, so
absolutely,
the
absolutely.
simplification works in both directions, right?
That's the key.
Yeah.
That's the key. It
That's
wins
why it
you
works so
actually
well.
right, because it wins you actually both ends of the spectrum. What it does is wins you everyone.
Yeah. I love it.
Everyone. Wins
Yes.
you everyone. That's
Because
the
if a
point I wanted
6th
to make.
grader can understand it, so can a PhD.
Correct. Well, and not only that, you'll attract the attention of the PhD because they too only have so much
Yeah.
time.
Yeah. Simplify, simplify.
Cool. This was fun. So here's the interesting thing, Dave, is going back to your early statement of, oh, I didn't eat ramen. I
No,
ate cup
no.
of noodle. Dude, you're eating ramen.
Now you know. Now you know I never thought that the ramen had enough carbs in it, so I always crumbled a package of crackers in as well to make it kind of a paste.
There you
Sometimes
go.
you it's just not enough carbs in it, so you just add some potato flakes. It thickens
Potato
right up.
flakes.
Yeah,
Wow.
I was a master at,
You there were a connoisseur.
you you could use it as grout. Thank you for bringing us the story of Cupo noodles, Stephen.
We're gonna start a riot. Thanks, David.
Thanks for listening to the podcast. Please share us, subscribe on your favorite podcast app, and leave us a big, fat, juicy 5-star rating and review at Apple Podcasts. And if you'd like to schedule your own 90-minute empire building session, you can do it at empirebuildingprogram.com.